Today, we are diving into The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. And let me tell you, this is a story that really beautifully weaves together the lives of three very different people, separated by a whole century, but connected by, well, the magic of books and stories.
Right on the cover, you see this question, and it really gets you thinking. How far will you go to find your story? And that's not just about, finding a story in a book. It's really about the courage it takes to write your own story, to live your own life.
So here's the core idea that just pulls you right in. What if one single kind of magical place could be the crossroads for three different destinies? A place where the past isn't just something you read about, but something that feels, well, alive.
The whole story is told across three different timelines, and each one has a main character at a huge turning point in their life. First, you've got Opaline, the runaway, back in 1921. Then we jump to Martha, the survivor, who's just shown up in modern-day Dublin. And finally, we meet Henry, the seeker, who's digging into the past.
Okay, so let's start with our first thread back in 1921 London. Meet Opaline. She's a young woman who feels completely trapped by her family's expectations, but her true passion, her whole world, is books.
And this quote right here, this tells you everything you need to know about Opaline. It's a belief she got from her father, this idea that books are literally alive, that they're portals to freedom. And for Opaline, freedom is absolutely everything. And boy, is she trapped. She's totally cornered. Her brother, Lyndon, is this really cruel guy who's trying to force her into an arranged marriage just to help the family's finances. So her only way out is to make this heartbreaking choice. She has to sell the precious books her father gave her, those very portals, just to get enough money to run away. Now let's jump forward 100 years, because a totally different kind of escape is happening. This is where we meet Martha in Dublin. And she's not arriving as a dreamer like Opaline. She's more like a fugitive, running from her own life. This quote, wow, it just captures the raw, desperate feeling of her situation. She's fleeing something violent, something traumatic. This isn't an adventure for her, it's pure survival. All she wants, all she needs is to just disappear. So she finds a job as a live-in housekeeper, and she gets this tiny basement room that becomes her fortress. It's the one place she can lock the door and finally, maybe, feel safe. But, and this is a big but, she has no idea that the house she's hiding in is at the center of a century-old secret. And that brings us to our third person, Henry. Now, he's not running from the past, he's chasing it down. He's a PhD student, and he's come to Dublin hoping that if he can just uncover a piece of history, it'll secure his entire future. This is Henry's whole philosophy, He's this kind of romantic academic who really believes that history is just full of lost stories, waiting for someone to care enough to find them. And he wants to be that someone. He's looking for that one big discovery. His whole search is hanging on this one old letter that leads him to an address on Happy Lane. But when he gets there, there's no bookshop, it's just a house. And that's when he looks down and sees Martha in the basement window. And just like that, their worlds are about to collide. So there you have it, the runaway, the survivor, and the seeker. The big question is, how do these three completely separate lives, separated by all this time, start to weave together?
It's really interesting when you break it down. They're all searching for something, but for totally different reasons. Opaline is running towards her future, hoping for freedom. Martha is running away from her past, desperate for safety. And Henry, he's trying to uncover the past to make a future for himself.
And here's where it gets a little bit magical. The thing that connects them all isn't just a building, it's a legend. There's this local story about a ghost bookshop on Happy Lane that just appears and then vanishes, like it exists somewhere between reality and a fairy tale. This is the big historical mystery, the question that's driving Henry crazy. After Opaline sold her books and ran away from London, what on earth happened to her? Did she ever get that freedom she was dreaming of? And that, of course, brings us back to Martha. Is her little safe haven really safe? Could the house she's hiding in be the very same place where Opaline's story took place? And if it is that history about to come crashing into her present? And that's really the central puzzle of the whole thing. You've got these two strangers. One is a survivor who wants to stay hidden. The other is a scholar who wants to dig everything up. Can they possibly trust each other enough to follow these whispers from the past and figure out the truth about the lost bookshop? The book's prologue leaves us with this wonderful, cozy thought. It suggests that every big discovery, every important connection, every story worth telling
Well, it all starts with the simple shared moment. It's a perfect invitation to just pull up a chair, get comfortable, and find out how these three stories become one.